Hey folks, and welcome to the Truck King YouTube channel. Today is an exciting day because we finally have the new Ford Bronco here on our test property, and we're going to put it through our trails. So in this video, we're going to go on-road for a second and tell you what that's like, but really we're just going to focus on off-road. We're going to find the mud, water, and rocks and see how this Badlands Sasquatch holds up. Let's start, as always, with the Walkaround. Powering our Bronco Badlands today is the larger power plant. That's a 2.7 liter turbocharged V6. It makes 310 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque, and that is sent through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Although what is pretty cool is you can get an optional 7-speed manual in the Bronco. So we have the Badlands package today, which is the one you want to get if you're going off-roading. Plus, we have the Sasquatch package added onto it. So if you just go Badlands, you're going to get the lockers in the front and the rear. You're going to get that disconnecting front sway bar, but you're only going to get 33-inch tires. Upgrade to the Sasquatch, and you're going to get these bad boys, 35-inch tires. And I want to show you something that is interesting. It doesn't say Wrangler anywhere on that tire. That is by design. Ford called Goodyear and said, we don't want the word Wrangler on our vehicle. So it actually just says Goodyear twice. And there's actually something else about the tires I want to go a little bit more in depth on. Do you see this steel bar right here? Well, this is what I want to talk about. On a non-Sasquatch Bronco model, on a model with just 33-inch tires, that steel bar, that tube, is actually going to have a longer, what they call a crash bar, mounted into it. Now with 33-inch tires, it fits. With 35-inch tires, that crash bar won't fit there. Now what does it do? Well, it's called a crash bar because in a small overlap crash where just some of the front of the vehicle is exposed, it's going to help make sure this tire doesn't push into the cab. And so I'm telling you this because you have to know if you get a Bronco with the Sasquatch package, you're not going to get those crash bars. Now I also reached out to the IIHS, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, just to ask them about this. Now they said they are currently testing the Bronco 4-door, but they're not going to test the Sasquatch package. So basically I'm just saying buyer beware. Once those crash tests come out, they won't apply to the Bronco with 35-inch tires because you have less safety here. If you go for the bigger tire, you're not going to get the crash bar. That's what you need to know. Let's quickly go over the rear end, and obviously Ford was paying attention to what they do with the Jeep Wrangler because this is the same setup. You got a swing gate and then you get the glass that opens individually. Now the actual overall space back here, I get the sense it's quite a bit bigger than a Jeep Wrangler. Actually, I can show you the numbers on screen. What I really like, these heavy duty tie downs. These things are really big in all four corners. That's a plastic rubberized floor. You're going to be able to wash that. Plus a little bit of storage and some tools here under the floor, which is handy as well. And 12-volt power back here in the back too. Before we head off-road, we got to talk a little bit about what the Bronco is like on-road. I mean, most people are going to drive it most of the time on-road,
yeah,
right?
Of course.
And the big deal with the Bronco versus the Jeep Wrangler was independent front suspension here in the Ford versus the solid axle in the Jeep. And you know what? It does change the driving experience. Here in this Bronco, Dad, it's nice and planted. No wandering, you know, not a lot of work goes into the steering wheel. It just doesn't feel that different from driving an F-150 or an Expedition or something like that. Whereas you get into the Wrangler and it's always been guilty of, you know, being a very busy vehicle to drive. So I think Ford was super conscious of that. And from my perspective here, they nailed the on-road drive here.
I like the way it feels. It definitely drives better on-road, you know, than a Jeep. If I got a complaint, it's noisy in here.
It is, and I don't have a way of proving this to anybody. I think it's noisier than a Wrangler. We took a Wrangler on a road trip, and I didn't notice it this bad, but this roof is especially noisy.
When I was driving it up here, swear I kept thinking that I had a back window open. Just that coming from behind me, that sound.
Yeah.
And it's obviously, you know, the roof and the way it's put together. So,
Sure.
And again, we're nitpicking.
Yeah.
Because these are not huge things, and if you buy it, you probably get used to it pretty soon. But then again, why do you come to this channel? You want to hear us complain, right?
Well, and I'll keep going with complaints, Dad, because you got to talk about 35-inch tires. We're gonna get to all the positives, don't you worry, when we go off-road. But the negatives, they're noisy. We just mentioned that. You can hear these tires. And B, the fuel economy. I don't care what vehicle you have, you're not getting good fuel economy out of 35-inch tires.
No, you're dragging a lot of rubber.
Exactly, and so far we're running in the mid 14 liters per 100 average with this Bronco, and again, that's a lot of highway miles. So yeah, don't expect great fuel economy out of this thing either, but going for the Sasquatch package does make it unbelievable off-road, and why don't we show them that right now?
Absolutely.
Okay folks, off-roading time has come here in the Bronco, and the first thing we're doing is the rock pile. This is an off-road obstacle we usually leave to side-by-sides and ATVs, but our clearances here are so good, especially that approach angle, we're gonna try it in the Bronco. So I have it in rock crawl mode. That means automatically you go into 4 low, the stabilizer bar is disconnected, my front and my rear are locked up. Let's see how she climbs. The first ever vehicle to hopefully make it over the rock pile here at Ironwood. Oh, nice. So far, so good. I have to turn these parking sensors off though, or else I'm gonna go crazy. So I do have these cameras here on my front tires, which are working beautifully. Oh, there's my first bit of slip. Now I can see how close to the edge I am. Nope. She's still slipping. I got a little more though before I'm too close. Let me try a little more. Now Dad is shooting right now and spotting.
Yeah, you're good. You got mud on the tires, so it's slipping, but it'll climb.
You think so?
Yep, you're clear.
So far so good.
Looks good from here.
Okay, I'm starting to feel it. I'm coming over the top. I'm coming over the top.
Yeah, bear left a little bit.
And so far, I'm there. No clearance issues whatsoever. 4 low is allowing me to be super light on the throttle. Absolutely delicate. And I'm coming off, We're over! Oh, nicely done, Bronco. Like I said, that's the first vehicle to successfully cross the Truck King rock pile that's also road legal. So, nicely done, Bronco. Now you need all of the numbers, and of course, going for the Sasquatch package brings all of your angles and your ground clearance up. So this is the most capable Bronco you can get. Approach angle right here, 43.2 degrees. Departure angle comes in at 37 degrees. Breakover, 26.3 degrees. And overall ground clearance, 11.5 inches. Plus, once you get Sasquatch, this thing can ford up to 33.5 inches of water, and you know we're gonna put that to the test. Next off-road test, the ditch crossing, and we're actually going to use this as a little bit of a demonstration to show you the disconnectable sway bar and why it matters. So I'm still in rock crawl mode. That's because I'm in 4 low and I have my front and my rear locked up, and the sway bar right now is still locked. It is still connected. So let's see how I get across this ditch. And once again, I've run a few other vehicles through here. Generally, the clearances are not quite enough, but so far here in the Bronco, so good. And there's my front. Now my front driver's about to start climbing. So far I feel nothing rubbing. Oh, climb, climb. Oh, she's spinning on me. Oh, I got a little turn sideways here. I'm gonna hit this one with a little bit more speed. Is my bumper clearing?
Your bumper is clearing.
Okay, I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of speed. Here we go. Oh, it's muddy out here today, folks. So it's not quite climbing. All right, once again, I've repositioned a bit. I'm gonna hit it a bit, try to get my driver's side tire right up on that face. Oh, Bronco! Well, everybody, first of all, I have my window down there and almost sprayed the inside of the Bronco with mud. Second of all, it's so wet in this trough today. I don't know if it's gonna do it. I really don't know. It just wants to push. Come on, climb. Let's see if I can just creep it. Just creeping it. Creeping it. Creeping it. No. No. Oh, maybe. Pretty soon I'm going to be officially stuck here in this trough. Luckily I can still reverse it, but man, yeah, I don't think this is going to work. We built this trough so that we could run it lengthwise, but I prefer crossing it. It's a lot tougher to do that. And it's just a little too muddy today, and these tires just can't find the grip. But let's do it one more time. We're gonna unlock that sway bar. At the very least, you will see as we come into the trough how much flatter the Bronco stays with the sway bar unlocked or disconnected. Now here comes ditch attempt number 2, and I don't actually think I'm gonna make it through. I mean, muddy tires are muddy tires. I don't think I'm gonna climb that other side either way. I'm gonna try. What I wanna show you though is now my stabilizer bar is disconnected, so just watch the difference as this front driver's side drops in to this pit. The vehicle should stay much flatter than it did before. And I'd really like to make it out of this pit today, so I am gonna hit it one more time and see what it can do. Ready, Bronco? Let's go. Oh, yes! Bronco! So there, it took me hitting it, but what can I say? You have to chalk some of that up to the stabilizer bar being disconnected. The fact that my front end was just able to creep up and over that basically sheer mud face, yeah, it actually helped me get more grip, get more traction, and make it over. I'm excited. I didn't think I was making it through there. So right on, Bronco, and I think that really does show you that stabilizer disconnect, it makes a big difference.
So I just wanted a chance to do a little bit of a walk around to look at the finer points that the engineers worked on in this Bronco, particularly when we look at tie downs, accessories, you know, basically the off-road and the camping experience. And I've looked at it with a different eye because I've spent my life buying vehicles and then immediately having to modify them because the factory just didn't offer particularly things such as appropriate tie downs. So to start with, of course, we've got these lovely tie downs right here on the hood. These also act as an aiming device, quite honestly, when you're behind the wheel. But even things like these end caps on the bumpers are removable. So once again, if you're doing extreme stuff, they'll be out of the way of the tire. And as I work my way back, you can't help but look at these large over fenders. Again, something we used to have to go to the aftermarket for. This will keep most of the mud under and not on the roof. When we get over to the rock rail, just a little thing, okay? This is angled almost at about 35 degrees so that if you get particularly snow, slush jammed in here, as it melts, it's going to slide off. Again, working our way back, I noticed that the mirrors are mounted to the body, not to the door. So if you are in that kind of climate where you're going to pull your doors off, you're not going to lose your mirrors. Keep coming back, and I noticed right off at the back that the recovery rings are also set up at a position where you can use them for rooftop tie downs. And I forgot to mention up at the front, but it's exactly the same thing because the front recoveries are closed loops rather than open hooks. And frankly, I used to like open hooks because you could just sort of throw the chain or the yeah, that thing over top of it. However, with the closed ones, you can tie down to it. And really the list goes on, right down to all the interior stuff to make it easy to clean. I don't know how many times I've spent the better part of a Sunday washing mud out of places where I wished it never had gone in the first place. So this is really just my ode to the Ford engineers, who are probably old guys like me who went, we're going to fix those things because we suffered with them throughout our whole lives. They've done a really good job here.
All right, folks, here we go now, up the hydro line. So I put it into mud and ruts mode. There are goat modes, that means go over any terrain, that's what they call them. So this is now in mud and ruts. In mud and ruts, it actually shifts back up to 4 high and locks up your rear locker for you automatically. So that's how I'm running it. Now I'm also going to do something else here. I'm going to use Ford's one pedal drive. So basically I'm lifting off the throttle now. I'm not touching anything and the vehicle comes to a dead stop. Then as I put my foot back into the throttle, it goes. So like the name suggests, you only need to use the throttle. You should never need to touch the brake because the braking is handled for you. I guess the one advantage is this helps you really modulate and keep things super smooth. I just have my foot right at, one position and the Bronco just nicely creeps through. And then I guess the other nice thing is in a panic, in an emergency situation, or suddenly you need to stop, all you have to do is lift. So it is one less motion you have to go through to bring the vehicle to a quick stop. Now all of that being said, I'm gonna be straight up honest, I don't think I would use this. If I owned a Bronco and I was coming out for a fun run up the hydro line, I don't see myself putting on one pedal control because it just takes some fun out of it. It's not the point of off-roading. We're really getting to this point where we have such amazing systems to help us, but some of them do take away some of that fun. I'm of two minds here. If a system can actually do things that I can't do and help me get unstuck, well then I think it's excellent. But if it's just here for, taking some stress out of off-roading, yeah, no, that's not the point. It's not why I come out here, is to take that stress out. I like using both of my feet and being in charge of the vehicle. And we're just dropping into the trough right now. And I still am using one pedal control, just to feel it. And dropping in. No problem. So far, stress-free. And I'm not that surprised at this, but this is something we don't normally do. Usually right here, when I'm out here in the middle of this water trough, I'm pretty worried, so I gun it, and I don't want to slow down. Here in the Bronco, I come to a complete stop. And it just gets started again. Nicely done, Bronco. These tires are having no issue finding grip out here. Oh, climbing some rocks there. And now we've got one big rock on the hill right here in the middle. Oh, and it clears it. Nicely done, Bronco. This thing is just owning our trails out here. Okay, now another system we have here in the Bronco, you have your one pedal control, but then if you just touch the set buttons that you use for your cruise control, now I have set trail control. So as we come down the hill here, I have trail control active. It is set at 4 kilometers an hour. And so if my feet are off the gas, off the brake, and it's just gonna creep me down this hill. And it's nice. These systems have come such a long way. It's so quiet, so smooth, never lets me run away, never feels sketchy. And now as I hit the trough, all I'm gonna do is press up on the set button. I'm up to 9 kilometers an hour, and now it should just creep through. And once again, my feet are off the pedals. I'm not touching the pedals right now, and it's just creeping through. Good job, Bronco. That's impressive water fording, man. All right, guys, I've been driving today, and that means Dad was signed up as the cameraman. Dad, yeah. What happened?
Okay, so what I discovered about Sasquatch tires is that they push a lot more water than a lot of the other vehicles we get through here. I mean, look at this, I'm squatting down, my butt's wet.
Wet butt.
The things I do for my kids.
You're not getting paid extra for that, I hope you know.
Well, I've got to dry out now.
Okay, now we're gonna head over to the left hook, but there's something else I need to try, and that is Baja Mode. And of course, Baja Mode is all about driving this thing quickly. So let's do it. Oh, and the power is right there. It holds the gears, and it does make the throttle ultra aggressive. Oh, I'm sliding around a little bit out here. It's a little bit sketchy through these trees. Now these are Bilstein position sensitive dampers. So as the speed picks up, so should the suspension control. And actually actually does feel pretty nice. I'm running at 50 kilometers an hour right now, hitting this stuff, and it's swallowing it up better than I expected. You know, usually when you do the low speed stuff well, you don't always do the high speed stuff well. And I'll remind you, there's also the Bronco Wild Track. That model is specifically designed for high speeds. But in Baja Mode, you get that aggressive throttle, the engine power is right there, and you know what? The suspension soaks it up pretty nicely. Okay, we slowed back down, we've got it in mud and ruts mode. It's time to hook a left onto the left hook. And there's a lot of water and mud out here today, boy. Well, it'll be interesting going through the deep section and up the hill. But, I mean, starting off here, that little trough, those rocks, this Bronco so far has just been such a stress-free off-roading experience. And that's just a testament to how good it is. Okay, folks, I'm in mud and ruts mode. I'm not using one pedal or trail control. I'm gonna do this all on my own. And we're coming to the deep section on the left hook. Now we've really dug these ruts in quite deep. But so far the thing I'm loving, and you can see it here, is I'm just creeping, absolutely just creeping, and no problem. These Goodyear Territories have the grip to get me going. Another thing I'm gonna mention right now is this Bronco is kind of heavy. Actually a little over 5,000 pounds. Once again, take a look, folks. I'm absolutely stopped here in the mud. No slip to get out. And even in 4 high, I can modulate this throttle. But I know I'm not making it up that hill without a little bit of momentum. So let's go, Bronco. Let's go, Bronco. Let's try to stay out of that rut, out of that rut, out of that rut, out of that rut. Yes! Wow! Wow, wow, wow. Now I'm coming up this rock hill, but this should be no problem at all. Oh my goodness, let me tell you about what just happened. Hopefully you can see it in the footage. The Bronco just hopped right up and out of that rut. I didn't want to get stuck in those low ruts where we've been stuck many times with a lot of vehicles. And the Bronco, I was able to steer out of the rut, and it hopped up and out on the driver's side. And again, that's a testament to the size of these tires, the bite of these tires, and the amount of clearance that they have. There's very few vehicles that can jump out of the ruts. Usually you're down there like a slot car, hitting the gas and holding on. Not in the Bronco. This thing was able to hop up and out. Last off-road test here on the Bronco. I want to try to show off the trail turn assist. Now, Dad and I have had a chance to use this system, but only when it was kind of set up for us and not in a situation where you really needed it. What it does is it basically brakes the rear inside wheel as you're coming around a corner to basically help you rotate around that corner. Now, we have a spot up here where there's a little S curve. You got to go around a rock and then immediately make a left and go up a hill. And I think that trail turn assist will actually help me. And now here comes the little S bend through the tree and around the rock. I'm gonna get a bit of speed because it helps, and then crank it in. Yes! And then crank it. Rotate. Oh, nice! And it just made it. So coming around that rock, it made a legitimate difference. I got to where my rear tire was about lined up with it. I cranked that wheel, and yeah, it just absolutely rotates quickly. You definitely feel the difference, and that is a situation there where without it on, I probably would have ended up climbing that rock. Now, I could have done that. The Bronco will do that, but also pretty cool to have that system and be able to kind of just sneak your way through there. Well, folks, that is it for this video. And you know what? The summary here is pretty simple. I've never felt a stock road legal vehicle go through our off-road trails as effortlessly as this Bronco just did. And that is straight up a testament to just how good it is off-road right out of the box. So like I said, that's it for this one. Please now go below, let me know what you think of the Bronco, leave me a comment. As always, hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member of the channel, and then come right back here to Truck King to see what we're testing next. See ya.